We're going to start with a kind of a frying pan called a small wok. This isn't huge, but it's got some depth to the bowl. I like to put the oil in first because it's easier to see how much you put in. You know, if you put it in after you put the eggplant and mushrooms in, it's harder to gauge. You know, that's not a crazy amount. We're not deep frying. And we can start getting it a little bit hot right now. We'll have the flame's a little higher than we would use for sauteing. One of the things I like to put in right away, some brown sugar. Brown sugar, it melts, becomes like water. I'm going to put in more brown sugar than I would normally because we're going to be adding a little chili oil. The chili oil and the brown sugar are a good combination. Now the brown sugar's got flavor. You don't want too much. You don't want to make it too sweet, but if you can get a balance to it where it just blends in, it really helps boost flavor. Not too much, not too little. We'll add the butter a little later. I'm going to start the eggplant. The eggplant's going to need the most time to saute, so I'll put that in first. The aim here, this whole meal, is about chewy consistency. You know, the eggplant, you get nice and sauteed. We're going to give this some time. Very chewy. As with the shiitake mushrooms, it doesn't have to be shiitake. There can be other mushrooms, oyster mushrooms. Starting to feel, this is kind of a smaller eggplant. I like them just sort of a little big, but we'll be doing this thing up. Starting to hear it. It's a little hot. Fill up the bottom with the eggplant. We're getting closer to that. Try a couple more of that. I don't like to use, exact measurements, but you can see, okay, that much oil. Probably getting, close with that. Now we got the mushrooms. These things right here are edible, so bang, bang, bang. There's a way that the eggplant, the mushroom, the tomato, the brown sugar, all these things, the flavor coalesces with the chili oil also. And then with the chewy consistency, these different textures. And we'll be showing you one of the main textures in a minute after I get this in. The noodles. Do we have enough? I like to make sure there's enough. This will be a big meal. We're gonna add the butter now and let all that melt in. With the weird coronavirus shortage, I couldn't get this in quarters, so I had a big stick of it. So I like to put about 3/8 of a stick in. It's close. Allow a little more. It's not a quarter stick, about 3/8 of a stick for this meal. Butter is a magic ingredient. That together with the oil. So we did that. We're going to turn the heat down a bit. This is a little high. Now, covering it. Covering it's good. Keeps all that stuff in. This, it's not just a flavor additive, but instead of having to put water in it, I'm going to add these 2 tomatoes and put them on top. And they're going to put the water in there that we're going to need. So you can let it saute for a long time. And we want to give it some time. And it's not going to burn to the bottom. We've been lucky with tomatoes this winter, spring. The tomatoes last summer were just so awful. Just the first time ever where they were just tasteless. But we've had decent tomatoes this winter. Go figure. That's tomato number 1. That we'll put on top. I'm not going to add the salt till later. Tomato number 2. This is a little juicier. Sometimes you make a mistake and you put the wrong thing in there, and maybe I'll fish it out if I can find it. Or maybe not. Yes, I found it. See, mistakes are made and corrected. This will supply these 2 tomatoes. This will supply us with enough liquid in there. The butter will melt down. We don't need to salt it yet. That's a pretty low flame, and we're going to give this some time. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. We're going to go read a book for a while. Okay. So while we're letting this saute, we want to occasionally open this thing up and take a look at what's going on here. And I got this friendly little device here. We can see there's a lot of liquid in there. That's good. That's good. Now, how well is it getting to the eggplant? Not well enough. We're going to have to give this some more time. But at this point, we can do a little addition here. We have spinach. Spinach is neat these days where it comes in these big cartons. It's like $4 for this. That's nice. It's a nice price. Normally, like a little, sprig of it would be like $2.50, $3. It's good to be careful with spinach. When you put it raw into salads, a little bit of it likes to go. It rots real fast. Diarrhea. We don't like diarrhea. However, we can see none of this stuff is starting to rot, and we're going to cook this thoroughly. Chop it a bit. It's a really neat blend in, good flavor, good iron. We like iron. It's also good when you buy one of these cartons, don't let it stay a week. You're going to want to use it just about every day to use it up. So if you like these kinds of meals, that's a good idea, isn't it? Okay, so we've got that layer on top there, and we'll put the top back on and let it cook through. Next stuff we're going to add in a few minutes. We can start to prepare this. 2 kinds of noodles. Japanese style udon noodles from the Twin Marquee brand. That's the best. If it's not available locally, well, you can try something else, but I've tried them all. Twin Marquee, that's the best. And these are wheat noodles. Here we have Bangkan Vietnamese udon. And this includes wheat starch, rice water, soybean. But the neat thing about this is that it's very gelatinous. It's not quite to that of a gummy bear. We all like gummy bears. But when you combine these textures, because they're both chewy, and then you've got the chewy mushroom, you've got the chewy eggplant. You've got a lot of different kinds of chewies intertwining, and that makes for neat stuff. need quite this much, but it's nice to get it a little chopped up. And the friendly scissors are good at that. So I'm putting this on the top, just gonna let it sit there for a while. And eventually, near the end, open this thing back up and swirl all around. Notice that I have not added salt yet. That'll come last. Salt's great. You know, you don't want too much, but you don't want too little. That's our first thing. You don't need a crazy amount of this stuff. It goes a long way. Somehow it really takes up space in there. We like to take up space. We like to have a big full meal. Udon. And is that enough? Maybe I'll add a little bit more. You can't go wrong. Like a half a package. We're making a nice big meal with this. And we'll put this thing back on and give it some more time. Okay, we're at 6:51 right now. We really kind of started with the sauteing at 6:22. It's a full half hour. This stuff is not exact. You have to do it a bit by feel because, you know, the amount of food in here varies, and you know exactly how much heat is coming up here. That's going to vary too. I mean, you know, it might be slightly different today than from what it was yesterday. I'm gonna start meshing all this stuff up. See if we're starting to, you know, is the spinach kind of, you know, melted through? It looks like we're good. Looks like we're good. So what we're going to do, I like to do the salt in 2 rounds. The shaker, you know, your shaker is going to be different, but you know, I'm going to put a decent amount here on top. You know, you got to remember that salt, you know, there's a lot of these noodles here, and noodles, they take salt. They need salt. Salt's their friend. Salt's also the friend of all this other stuff. So we're going to get it all intertwined. Let me mix it up for our next round of salt, and then intertwine it some more. Get it all meshed up. This is nice and wet, nice and wet. Looks like the noodles have, you know, they're not stiff. And it's pretty colorful looking, isn't it? Yeah, I like that color. You see how the tomatoes gone all through. Our second round of salt. And of course, since I'm forgetful, and I'm going to do this in a more scientific way right now. The chili oil. The chili oils are very inexact science. I normally just do this and let some go down. You don't want too much, you know, particularly with this. This is not about the big spice. This is about blend-in flavors. The chili oil is the one blend-in flavor. Get this from the Chinese market. And as an additional little thing here, we're going to show you, where did it go? Maybe over here. I don't know where did my... I can't find it. That'll be for another video, and we're going to have to edit that one out. Oh, maybe we did find it. Yes. Ginger oil. Ginger oil is way better to use than real ginger root. Ginger root tends to be dried out. It's a hassle to get all the skin off, and then you have to, and try and get some juice out of it. Rarely works. This is guaranteed. Different kinds of ginger oil. Normally you can only find ginger oils in a Chinese supermarket, which is where I get this stuff from. And it's got a big, fresh flavor. We're not using it in this, but it's a great blend-in flavor additive to all sorts of noodle dishes. So, because I'm trying to be a little more exact, hopefully that wasn't too much thinning. I might not have put all this stuff in. Okay. Doesn't take, that's just a background flavor additive. You can feel a little heat on it in the background of your mouth as you eat this stuff. It doesn't take a heck of a lot. But, we had extra brown sugar, so we need that chili oil to compensate. We want to get it all around. This is a lot of food, and I could eat this all night if it's good. I'm going to turn the heat off now. Oh, I'm a forgetful person. Yes. Lemon juice. This brand, Real Lemon, it's got good lemon flavor. Real lemons, they're nice, but this one's got good lemon flavor. I almost forgot about that. There's so many. It's complicated. You have to. I don't want to overdose on it. I don't. But I got enough there. I don't want to get so it's you could see the lemon juice. I want it to blend in. It can make all the difference. It's nice little contrast in there. It's hard to remember everything. But if you make a meal and then you realize, oh, I forgot this, well, then go and add the stuff, and it's not that hard. Okay, we're now ready. We're not seeing lemon juice at the bottom of this, so there's probably just enough. It's not an exact science, any of this stuff. I am officially hungry.